What upsets me the most is that Lennart Green is not known amongst the regular muggle populace. Now, calling people that don't know about magic muggles makes me want to just taste the outside of my Hellcat, but I've noticed that Lennart Green became popular from time to time whenever a video of him doing the snap deal would spread around and people lost their minds. This is a perfect example of Lennart Green at work. It's his act from the Macmillan close-up competition in 1988, and he's doing his FISM act, which, by the way, legendarily, he was disqualified from because the judges thought that he was cheating, that he was using stooges.
Hello, magic friends. I'm coming directly from the Falls Gambling Club of Gothenburg, the high school of card cheating, with some new moves for you. Well, first of all, this is an ordinary deck of cards, and afterwards I will give the deck to the judges for examination and as a gift. It can make 1 or 2 points.
Now, of course, I have to begin by letting you guys know that this is going to be a commentary video, and I'm going to be going through the video. If you want to watch it by itself in its entirety, I'm going to be leaving it linked down below. But we're going to take a look at this act and analyze it from the perspective of a full-time virgin, which is me. I'm a full-time virgin. Now, Lennart Green's style is very conversational. He likes to improvise a lot, as you're going to see in the act. He starts with a myriad of false shuffles and false cuts, and his whole act is essentially finding cards that the participants name. Now, while everything might seem like it's out of control or chaotic, it's what Lennart Green likes to call controlled chaos, meaning that he's in charge of everything. It reminds me of the classic metaphor of a clown, where a clown might fall over and might do some ridiculous things, but at the end of the day, everything has been clinically planned and thought of well in advance.
Well, would one of the jury please name any card? Any card, please, but not the Swedish one.
The 7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. You know, I will show a competition between 2 of the best card cheaters in our club.
Even from that little small interaction, Lennart Green is doing everything he needs to find any card that the participants could potentially name. You could see that he has a sort of side step there ready for the participants to name a card. And just in case it happens to be near the cut, he completes the pass. And the pass is just one that you've never seen before. It seems from this particular instance that he abandoned the pass, but you could also tell that Lennart Green has some bear paws on him. So his hands could pretty much palm half the deck, and you would be none the wiser.
The first guy, we can call him the Locator. He could locate any card very quick. And he also solved all classical problems. For example, how to palm a card from the middle of the deck at this distance. First, you have to locate the card, then palm it in this hand. 7 of hearts. Then...
Ooh, Lennart, what a forward young man you are.
What a forward young man you are.
Damn, that clip gets me hard every time. But you could see from the very beginning that Lennart is ripping this side steal pass and getting the 7 of hearts to position. He's peeking at the bottom card so you can know whether or not he actually cut it. And it's a lot of estimation, a lot of, I would say, guesswork, but not really. It's controlled guesswork, because at no point is there a chance where he will miss the card. And here he's combining a lot of sleights. In this case, he's using that false shuffle that he goes to a lot. And that false shuffle, all it does is the equivalent of 1 cut. And that's if he wants to do it that way. Sometimes he does a full deck false, sometimes he does it, so he just offsets 1 card. For this particular instance, he decides to produce that 7 of hearts using his top shot technique, which is not the easiest thing to do. And here he uses as a production from his right hand, which is a very novel use of the concept.
Next question is how to... You ask a person, you ask him to name any number, but not higher than 52. And the wise guy say 0. After that, he constructed a zero deal. Very bad. Like this.
Unfortunately, the nature of Lennart Green's style is that sometimes there are going to be some mistakes. In this case, he does make a little mistake here where he goes to produce the card in a different way after, by the way, killing that snap deal. And what's funny is that instead of, for example, just dealing with the mistake and moving on, he repeats the damn thing. Now, granted, I do think that it leads to a nice moment between him and the audience where everybody shares a laugh, but still kind of an odd choice for this particular competition. And again, a good opportunity of seeing his snap deal at work, which I'm sure in 1988, this man was just killing every magician up and down using that particular control technique.
Thank you. The last time, 0D. Where's the video? Well, no. He had lots of variation on this theme. For example, this, in Sweden we call this the hook grip. It's an old grip used by one-armed sailors. But worthless, forget it.
Now, that move is not easy to do. I know all these fucking kids that are 13 years old just slam it and do it consistently, but it's not an easy move to do if you're trying to get laid or trying to actually, I don't know, go outside. But here you could see he nails it completely. And what follows is a nice demonstration of techniques where he goes from a snap deal into a production. So in this case, he does it with a one-handed cut and he produces the card. And keep in mind that this move is completely unknown at this point in time. So this is just killing everybody, especially with his multiple productions. Although I do feel like he gets intoxicated with the reactions and keeps it going.
A better thing is a false count. And you use only one card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the time. And the same card.
That right there is one, if not my favorite Lennart Green sequence of all time. That false count is just brilliant. And you can see that he sets it up perfectly by spreading one card accidentally and dealing that one supposedly back under the cover of the 7 of hearts. A lot of times he has to show it and deal it openly. Here, he has a wonderful technique where he kind of makes a mistake and he does that deal where it just looks like that card is turning into just way more than it should be. Also, this might be the best instance of the ending that he does for the sequence because it just looks like that card appears in his hand.
Then a new invention to make an anti-deal. For example, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 cards. And you know this lamp, this is stronger than the other. It's some kind of anti-laser, reversed anti-laser, I think. Well, you see the beam. And here is the cards. When the cards cross the beam, they disappear. One by one. And they reappear.
Now, this to me is a novel approach because I've never seen him do this where he doesn't lap the cards. In this case, he uses it as a production in the other hand, and I haven't seen that. I might just not be the biggest virgin after all, but this one is a wonderful demonstration of his laser deal, which is what has become his signature effect. And here he's doing a lot of banter with the flashlight, calling it an anti-laser. And you know that what's coming is just going to be the best sequence of all time. And he starts dealing the cards one at a time. And even from the angle that we have here, which isn't the best angle for this particular move, he's still ripping it and nailing it. And of course, here comes the alternative ending where he produces the cards. And just what a beautiful pregnant pause. 100%, I think this is the superior handling. At this point, lapping the cards, you're doing it on the offbeat, and it becomes just another magical effect that he tags on to that laser deal sequence.
This is very important. On top of the deck is your cards, 7 of hearts. And he did the same operation with that card twice.
To me, the entire laser deal sequence has always been built around that last final production. Not of the entire packet of cards, but of the single 7 of hearts in this particular case. I think the entire effect builds up to that point. And to me, every time I've performed this sequence, which is an embarrassing amount of times, that is what always gets the biggest reactions. Because you assume the trick is over, and no, you get one last production, and that just kills them every single time. Yeah. Right. I'm sure that like flashed. Ooh, where did the last one come?
Well, after this was the end of the first guy's performance. Then the next guy, we call him the shuffler. He demonstrated every second red-black deal. He separated the deck openly, and he had lots of fascinating shuffles. This is one. You see, the cards are not in every second here. I memorized 2 cards. All right. Red, black, so far so good. But if you look in my hands, you see that the color don't match. But they match on the table. Every second, red, black,
I can't tell you how much I love that Rosetta Shuffle. It's just an immaculate shuffle because oftentimes you need to have a routine where a participant isn't necessarily going to be able to do a riffle shuffle. They may not have the virginity. They might have seen a woman recently. So typically you're not going to have a lot of participants that might be familiar with a standard riffle shuffle. However, doing it this way ensures that anybody could do it. Even if they have little nubs. Even if they have little nubs, they could do it because they could just push them together. And here he demonstrates what I think is the hardest thing when it comes to the snap deal, which is the snap deal switch. Essentially, he's dealing the cards, but he's able to do it while retaining red ones and dealing that to the corresponding pile and doing the exact same thing for black cards. This is a wonderful exercise to do, by the way, if you want to practice your snap deal.
I will take. Red, 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 red. Red. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm not a member of this club, but I'm very interested in such things. I work there as a bartender. Black, black, black. Okay, then the shuffler continued to separate the colors.
Immediately after the routine, he goes into what is called the angle separation, which is, I gotta say, it's my least favorite Lennart Green move. I've seen some weird ones, even that windmill move, I would consider in better light than this one. This is just a separation of the cards. He does this several times during his act, and usually it's to get the deck right back in new deck order for him to be able to find any selected card. And he just does it masterfully, but I still think that there are better alternatives.
In four heaps, in 4 parts. I think this shuffle is called Hindu or something, or false Hindu, I'm not sure. Now every diamonds is separated. Then to the clubs. And this is definitely false. Then the hearts. And
one thing you see often in Lennart's work is this idea of cyclical shuffles, meaning that the shuffles kind of counteract themselves. He does this with cuts on a table. You're going to see that in a moment. He does this with a Hindu shuffle where he's shuffling the cards, but there's a cyclical nature to it. So it's counteracting what shuffle would actually take place, especially when he gets to the one-handed variation of this, where he's doing Hindu shuffles and one-handed cuts. I believe he calls this concept the mirror concept, or the mirror shuffles, where essentially in mirroring the previous shuffle, you could undo a good portion of it.
Finally, the clubs. Then he's oiled the whole shit. No, he rearranged it with this shuffle. Okay, and he separated the cards in 4 heaps. my key card. Here is most of the spades in this heap. Okay, most of the hearts in this. Maybe all of them. Most of the diamonds in this. I'll put this. And most of the clubs in this heap. But this guy, he was a perfectionist, so he arranged every card in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every spade in order. Every heart in order. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Every diamond. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And finally, every club. Now.
And here's where it comes back to controlled chaos, especially because he's displaying all these different shuffles, and you can never imagine that the deck is in any sort of order. And of course, he manages to reveal that not only do they happen to be separated by individual suits, but with a little bit of a handling there, he's able to show that all the cards are in numerical order, which is just a kicker. Now, the first time I watched this, I did think that this particular handling of this portion of the set was contrived. I thought that there was a lot of time wasted, a lot of dead time. But I think for that kicker of the cards ending up being in numerical order just makes it completely worth it. And this portion was facilitated by that Rosetta Shuffle. That Rosetta Shuffle only does the equivalent of one, I would say, poor riffle shuffle. So the cards are getting shuffled together, but they still remain in clumps. And from that, he's able to do the angle separation. And from that, he's able to get the cards further into the order that they began in. So there's a lot of work going into this particular ending.
Now something happened. The first guy, the locator, the finder, he grabbed the deck and began madly to shuffle the cards. Sorry. First I thought it was a joke, because he worked as a croupier and his card handling reminded of the shuffling of roulette chips. But he was very serious. Then he cut the deck. Like this. And, see, on top of it all. Okay. He blindfolded himself, and I will do the same on my way. I'm a perfectionist myself, so I...
I really shouldn't have to explain how perfect that callback is to the actual laser deal and how he's talking about it, that it could blind you even from close up, and of course he used it to blind himself. But these shuffles are also immaculate because at this portion he's actually controlling an entire suit of cards. So right now it seems like he's shuffling the deck, but again, controlled chaos. So at this portion, one entire suit is being controlled, which is his ending and how he decides to end his show, where he finds it blindfolded. When I was way younger and first studying Lennart Green, I was obsessed with this ending because I loved the theatrics of it. Usually in one particular iteration of it, he wrapped his entire head in tin foil, and then he put his glasses on a tin foil, and it just was this great image. And at the end, he punched in 2 little nose holes so he could breathe. He really adds a lot of theatrics to what is a suit find, which is not really that impressive, that you cut to each and every single card from one suit. It could get pretty boring really quickly, but he adds so much to it. And on top of that, those very, very disarming shuffles.
Then he located every card, especially King of Spades. Here they are. Ace of Spades. 2, 3, 5. How is this? 6, 7. Oh, sorry. No. 7, 8. Then the first guy entered, and he wasn't blindfolded. So he was more elegant. And continue with 9 of spades. 10 of spades, Jack of spades, Queen of spades, and finally the King of spades in 2 seconds. 1, 2. And the rest of the cards is not, as you believe, in sidestepping this time. It's in Nicola card system. Yes, that's all. And here's the deck as a gift. Thank you.
That entire last sequence is just a masterclass in card productions. He does, I believe, the entire upper suits of the cards, all each individually. And that last King of Spades is a wonderful and emphatic production. And again, super simple to do. Even the one with the Jack of Spades, he adds a little bit of humor to that. But it's just, again, a masterclass in card manipulation in close-up. He does go on to add some other little nuances throughout the act eventually as time goes on. For example, he finds the 6 but in the wrong color. And then he puts the 6 and then finds a correct one. And I think that's a wonderful touch. But even this in its early form is still a tremendous act. But I think that's enough virginity for today. Make sure to check out the PigCake Magic Academy and also Fuck Off.
I see you again, when 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 I see you again. When I see you again.